welcome to the Daily Society. My name is Cool Guy, and this is my co-host Treybar.
Today's episode of the Daily Society is sponsored by Gatorade. We here at the Daily Society believe that all Black Lives Matter, and also, um, hashtag we're all in this together. Stay home, or else you'll get the chinky flu.
All right, thank you for that heartwarming intro. Uh, Today we have a very good, extravagant guest on tonight, Ultimate Bayleef.
It's great to be on.
Thank you.
Uh,
This is the most popular podcast other than Joe Rogan.
Honestly, we may have surpassed Joe Rogan by now. This is
Yeah,
episode
at
5.
this point, we've been skyrocketing for a while now, so I've lost track of how many of how popular we've gotten. But yeah, but this is episode 5, so we're basically past him at this point. Moving on, Ultimate Bayleef, can we get a little bit of an introduction on yourself?
my name is Ultimate Bayleef. From DiscordApp.com. I'm from the Bay Area. It's like living in a sea of like hell, but the nature is nice.
Cool.
I am a Catholic. Actually, I don't think I have that many defining personality traits. I just spend a ton of time on the internet.
All right.
So
Nice.
Awesome. So we're
You
going to
possess
talk.
the Faustian Zoomer spirit.
Yes, the Faustian spirit.
Mhm.
The So we're going to start off talking a little bit about Kamala Harris. Now, from the live stream that we did yesterday, which is currently unlisted, so most people will not be able
Because it
to
was complete
see it.
garbage.
We're going to talk a little bit about Kamala Harris on this episode, being picked as the VP candidate for Joe Biden and what that means. So basically, Kamala Harris is a radical on a lot of things, even though she's kind of a fake radical. She's someone who gets into power by any means necessary, and if that means,
She,
faking.
she's kind of a what do they call, like a venture radical? What's the word I'm looking for?
It's politically feasible to be a radical, she'll be a radical. When it's expedient to her political career, essentially, which is, you know, basically the best summary of Kamala Harris's character is that she will do anything for political power, and so she's sort of like without a soul at this point, any sort of like actual soul. She's got you know a black hole where her heart is, and her and Joe Biden are kind of two sides of the same coin on that. Whereas like Joe's mind is completely gone, Kamala's heart is completely gone. So you have the two of them together. There's like nothingness. There's a nihilistic sort of existence in their campaign, which is why I would argue that like this Democratic ticket is actually the worst ticket in all of history thus far. So I don't know. But main points about Kamala Harris that we made yesterday. One, she's barely an American, right? And the parts of her that are American are like the worst parts of America. Uh,
Well, we'll go through a Wikipedia article again
yeah.
because no one can see the video from yesterday.
Mhm.
So we'll start out with her early life and her education. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Kamala Devi Harris was born on October 20th, 1964, in Oakland, California.
Yeah. By the way, her name's Debbie or whatever. Debbie.
Debbie.
So Bailey, if you're from the Bay Area, tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about Oakland, California.
So
Tell us about
Oakland
the
is
people that come
actually
there.
so there's only two types of people that come from Oakland. There's like really, really rich people and really poor people. Oakland's really stratified in its wealth. So like in one neighborhood you'll have like one of the nicest areas in the US. In another neighborhood you'll have like a literal hood. Like you'll be shot for wearing the wrong color.
Wow.
Um
Mhm.
Now Kamala, like both of her parents, they were both UC Berkeley graduates, which is another demographic that lives in Oakland. Uh but yeah, Oakland is a terrible place. A lot of the people that come from there are terrible, terrible people.
Hmm.
Like legitimate criminals. Which is why I'm not surprised that Kamala actually just is morally bankrupt. Uh This is an Oakland thing, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
like,
can kind of relate to that actually, in the area that I live in. But I'd say that, in your experience living in the Bay Area, the people from Oakland are, it's very highly stratified. So there's like, an elite 1% of sorts, and then everyone else is like dirt poor and like hardened
It's
criminals.
basically it's basically either the bourgeois or like the proletariat who thinks they're fighting the bourgeois, but they're actually just fighting for the bourgeois.
Yes.
yeah, that's a
Is how
good. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
classic.
Oakland. You as I mentioned before, really nice parts, really bad parts, some in between, but not too much.
Yeah, definitely.
So moving on, her mother Shyamala Gopalan, which it sounds like some kind of like Sanskrit curse,
Yeah.
was like she was
Something
like a
straight
breast
from the
cancer
Kama
survivor.
Sutra.
Yeah, like a sex position or something.
Hmm.
I don't know. She was a breast cancer scientist who had emigrated from Tamil Nadu, India, in
Hmm.
1960 to pursue a doctorate in endocrinology at UC Berkeley. Her father, Donald J. Harris, is a Stanford University emeritus professor of economics who emigrated from British Jamaica in 1961 for graduate study in economics at UC Berkeley. So they both come. Her mother's family is of Brahmin lineage, so she's actually a pure Aryan.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah,
so
she's a Proto-Indo-European
on one side she is
sorceress.
Brahmin caste. On the other side she's like half white, and so she's basically a quadroon. She's barely black. She has no
Basically.
connection with
But
like the old slave, part of America at all. So,
mm,
I think that that's a good thing for Republicans, but we'll get into that later. Uh,
Man.
now,
So I've noticed one thing among like the expats or the migrants here. They work really, really well-paying jobs, but they act like they're oppressed. Like, look at like diaspora girls, for example. They literally act like white girls.
mhm.
Like, you'll see them like post about like the most like random stuff,
Yeah,
ignoring the fact that their dads
for
are
sure.
like making like six figures, like working for Tesla.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's like so facts that I'm gonna be completely honest. Indian bitches are the most basic bitches ever.
yeah,
Like that
yeah,
entire.
no cap. Like, you are 100% right, 100% spot on. This is why I despise like talking to most diaspora people, because they act like white girls just that are just like painted brown.
Basically. And the worst part about it is, you're right. They talk like they're oppressed all the time because they have to wait
Mhm.
5 extra minutes in line for like getting through TSA or something like that. Or
It's not even that. Like, I've never been stopped at TSA.
yeah,
Like, I really doubt they have either.
yeah,
It's just manufactured outrage.
for
Um,
real. That's a pretty good summary of the Indian diaspora, especially on the West Coast. I mean, in certain areas in the East Coast, it's different, but not all that much. And it's different, but it's still bad. Like it's mostly just like hordes of like Indians roaming around the areas of cities and stuff like that, and like ruining it for everyone else, pretty much. Talking
yeah,
about.
it's like look at Kamala for example. Like her grandfather was like esteemed like civil servant. Her mother was like really good at what she did. She's fluent. Like she isn't like some like lower class person. Like her father was literally like a Stanford like professor. Like
correct.
this whole LARP of like oppression is really dumb.
I think near Asians are like some of the most well-off
No, they are
people.
like because only the wealthy migrate here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like,
because most of them are like into like tech startups and stuff
mhm,
like that. So
yeah,
she wasn't like raised in the ghetto. She was raised in Berkeley, California, which I don't
hmm
actually. Well,
So
anyway.
her childhood was in Berkeley, California, but moving on, she moved to Quebec with her
We'll
mother
get there when
after.
we get there.
we'll
But
get there.
this is something interesting. Neither of her parents are native-born Americans. She's
Yeah,
barely a
Yeah,
native-born.
both of them are first generation Americans who came during the
Now, I
60s.
I can I can see this being like a thing, like kind of like a second birther movement, and I think it'd be really funny just to like dab on the libtards. ironically.
Yeah.
I think the second birther movement about Kamala Harris, where everyone's like, can she actually be a president? Is she really a citizen?
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny. I think that should happen.
That
Someone
would be
should
fun.
do that.
I wonder if
That
she's
would be really
actually a
funny.
double citizen for Canada, because she lived in Canada for a long time. We should look at that actually. Look into that. If she's
Yeah.
For most of her childhood, Harris's family lived in a duplex in West Berkeley, an area with a significant black population. When she began kindergarten, she was bused as part of school desegregation efforts to Thousand Oaks School, a public primary school in a more prosperous neighborhood in northern Berkeley. So yeah, she was going to the upper class elementary schools. She was
Yeah.
getting bused there. She
Mhm.
wasn't walking to school. Her parents, I'm assuming, I don't know for sure. Her parents were paying enough to have her bused halfway across town. I assume
Or
to
it
this.
seems like this was actually a Berkeley policy, because Berkeley, being a fairly liberal city, it spends a lot on it spends a lot in its city, like and honestly,
Oh
it's a
yeah,
pretty nice city. Like, if you've ever been to Berkeley, politics aside, it's a beautiful place.
right.
Mhm.
Well, I think most of California is very beautiful. When I
Oh
went
yeah.
there,
Politics aside, it's probably the most beautiful state. I'm trying to brag. Like, the
Yeah.
politics are one of the worst,
The
but
Pacific Ocean, the Sacramento
yeah.
River,
Hmm.
the mountains up in the eastern part of
Hmm.
the state. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really a testament to
anyways,
God's creation. But
Hmm.
let's continue.
true. I mean, you could be right. Maybe this was actually, that's probably more likely that this was a city policy. But
Hmm.
either way, she wasn't being raised she wasn't going to elementary school in the slums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was very well off, which is weird when she tries to during the debates when she was talking to Biden, ironically, and she was like, you,
Yeah.
what did she say
She
again?
was like, that
Like,
little girl was me, but she was
yeah, that little girl was me.
talking
That
about
that
segregated busing and stuff like that, and
yeah.
like how Biden apparently supported the person who passed that bill or whatever, and and Biden was completely crushed by that in that entire debate. He never recovered from that after the debate. Um,
Yeah, that bourgeois little girl going to one of the most of what appears to be a
Here,
prestigious elementary school.
we can pull up the clip, honestly.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, to be fair to Biden, his mental faculties are basically not working anymore. Like,
Yeah, definitely. He was completely and
Anyways,
totally unprepared with that too.
yeah.
anyways, she grew up going to both a black Baptist church and a Hindu temple, which is the worst possible combination as far as religion
It
goes.
Yeah,
explains all the demons that she has.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
honestly, she's probably possessed. Honestly,
Yeah, that one
she,
CNN clip.
Dude,
her
Hindu
parents
temples are.
divorced when she was 7, which says a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
that
so
also says a lot. Hang on.
she
Actually,
has
going
said.
going back to that Hindu point, yeah, Hindu temples are the worst. Like 5'8", because when I went to
So, her talking about the segregation of busing, that kind of thing, she really digs her claws into Biden in that one. And Biden just sort of sits there and is like, I know I'm being attacked, but I don't know how to respond. He's just like, it's pretty sad actually. He's like a captured animal.
I really don't think that if Biden was operating on his own will, that he would have picked Kamala Harris. I think
Definitely
he
not.
probably would have picked Elizabeth Warren or something.
Did
yeah,
you hear that?
Which
Literally the day before he picked her as his vice president, she unfollowed him on Twitter. That was news actually. I remember hearing about that. She unfollows him on Twitter before he announces his vice presidential bid the day before. And then the very next
well,
day he announces her as
she
his vice
follow
president.
did she
he
follow
did it to get
back?
her Twitter follow back.
Yeah.
It's pain when you
Yeah,
lose a mutual.
that's
He's just
what
trying
he
to get that
did.
mutual back.
That's
Like,
actually what happened though.
yeah,
All right, so her parents divorced when she was 7, which, as I said, that yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Wow.
She has said that when she and her father, she mentioned that in the clip you just played, by the way.
Mhm.
What I'm about to say. She had said that when she and her sister visited her father in Palo Alto on the weekends, neighbors' kids were not allowed to play with them because they were black.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think that's real. I think that
That's
neighbors'
definitely
kids just
made up.
didn't want to play with her
Yeah, that's
because
probably
she
what
was a
happened.
bitch.
Yeah.
And so she
Yeah.
was like, actually, our mom says we can't play with you because you're black. Yeah. We don't want to play we don't want to play cops because she was like one of those kids who always like invented
The
like
rules and stuff like
rules.
that. Yeah, because she
Yeah,
was
Yeah.
she
like,
was just kind of making stuff
Like
up.
just
she
those kids were really annoying on the playground. Like
yeah,
no one ever wanted to play with them.
she was like,
They,
When she was 12, Harris and her sister moved with their mother to Montreal, Canada, where their mother had accepted a research position at the Jewish General Hospital. Just gonna leave that there and teaching at
is that a
McGill University.
coincidence?
Coincidence? I hope not.
Coincidence.
Harris attended Westmount High School in Westmount, Quebec, graduating in 1981. So she didn't even graduate from high school in the United States of America. She graduated from high school in a French-speaking like commune in Canada. She's not even like this is like the least authentic person to have ever like run for like anything in the executive cabinet, I feel like.
mhm,
No.
Like
agreed.
how is she gonna relate to like well, I don't know. You already know, but like
Yeah,
she doesn't relate to like the historical American people.
definitely. Not
Yeah. Dude,
even the
imagine if like the
historical Black nation. She went
yeah.
to Howard University though. We'll get there
She
when we get
doesn't
there.
she doesn't relate to like black people either. She doesn't relate to any like of the historical American peoples. She relates to like the nameless international like bourgeois.
Basically, in everything. Yeah, she is literally the definition of the international bourgeoisie.
Yeah, little like global homo. Like
She was
A little
born
bit.
of first generation immigrants who were super rich, and she was bused to school to like a really nice public school in Berkeley, California. And she her parents got divorced, and then she moved to Quebec, and you know her mom went to like the Jewish school or whatever, the Jewish medical hospital, and then so this is literally the definition of like, the international, like a person who has no real heritage or nationality. And now she
She
gets
doesn't
brownie
relate.
points because she's
She doesn't
black.
know what it's like to sit on your back porch on Labor Day and drink Coors Light while like Fishing in the Dark is playing. Okay, the only thing she understands is like drinking the blood of Christian children,
Pretty
and
much.
that's it.
but even
Really?
going back to that, like it's not like she even understands her own like mixed weird cosmopolitan heritage. Like she barely speaks like the language of her mom, like for example.
She's so unaware, like, of her own self, like
Yeah.
she just lacks the most basic self-awareness. And it's really sad actually. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't
So
know.
after high school, Harris went to Howard University, a historically black university in Washington, D.C. While at Howard, she interned as a mailroom clerk for California Senator Alan Cranston. Chair of the Economic Society, led the debate team, and joined Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Harris graduated from Howard in 1986 with a double major, Bachelor of Arts degree in political science and economics. Good for her.
Yeah,
You
good
go,
for
girl.
her.
Those are
And
both
then
fake majors, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not getting a STEM
She
degree. It's kind
graduated
of
in what again?
1989.
What was her major again?
um political science and economics.
Oh,
Just,
that's kind of mean, but yeah. No, the economics.
you know,
Listen, political science. Depending on where you get it, it's like complete trash. But I think
mhm.
that it does have some merit depending on where, like, what college you're getting it from, and
Does
Honestly,
anyone know anything about the historically black university of Howard University in Washington,
no.
D.C.?
I
But I do know stuff
didn't.
about political science. I do know something about political science degrees.
Okay.
Uh, Interesting fact. Well, what you do undergrad really doesn't have much correlation on law school, for example.
Hmm.
Like the people that score the highest on the LSAT, which is the admittance test for law school, is literally physics majors. Like STEM majors, like MOG, like political science and economics majors on the LSAT.
Yeah, no,
Like,
definitely overall, but like in some colleges, with really good political science programs, they pass the LSATs with flying colors. So it
Yeah.
really depends on what we're talking about. But yeah, by and large, I would definitely agree with that assessment. And
Like you gotta go to
Harris,
like a small, like good liberal arts college for that to be good.
exactly, you can't
Like
go to like a big state college. But yeah, pretty much. Um, move.
Harris then returned to California to attend law school at the University of California, Hastings College of Law, through its Legal Education Opportunity Program for students from adverse backgrounds. Yeah, great. Well, at UC Hastings, she shucked she shells by the seashore. She served as president of its chapter of the Black Law Students Association. She graduated with a Juris Doctor in 1989 and was admitted to the California bar in 1990. She was the president of the Black Law Students Association. How does that make you feel? Imagine you're like Jamal, right? And like you got accepted to this law college. You had like a 15 on the ACT,
Mhm.
but you got accepted anyways because you know how things go. So, anyways,
15 on
you're
the
like, I'm gonna
ACT.
join.
It's funny.
You're like, I'm gonna join the Black Law Students Association, and then like you're like trying to, like the president's like this Indian woman, this like half Indian, like quarter white, and then
Hmm.
like quarter black woman,
Hmm.
and she's like trying to relate to like all the black people,
Yeah,
and she's like, yo, I really like Tupac or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know.
That's probably what she said. I guarantee it. She's like, "Yeah, I come from the same neighborhood as Tupac, by the way, guys." Like,
Yeah, dude. I would if I was Jamal, I would be tilted. It's like even them, like to graduate law school, like from being a hood rat, like that requires some effort.
mhm.
Like
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like you went it's
No, for
like you
sure.
went from like your like brothers wearing red every day to like a suit and tie. And now someone's just like marginalize your struggles. Like I hate to use like the word marginalize. It's like tainted by like these like
Yeah.
commies. But
But
it's
it's
like
true though.
it's true. Like someone like straight up just marginalizes your success. And it's not like the white man. It's like some like Indian girl from like Berkeley.
Hmm.
Like I don't know what to make of that.
Uh, But this
Um,
is a point you have to hammer in because she's not actually black. She's not
yeah,
actually anything. She's a nameless international.
yeah. She's
But
Hmm.
just
like
like
she's the whole like she's the first woman of color to be the vice president or whatever, or
Yeah,
to
she's the
like run for the
first
vice president.
goblin to be like running
yeah,
for vice president. Good for her.
It's not even true.
Goblina.
She's not part of the historical like black America. She's not part of the
Yeah,
historical white America
Yeah.
either. She's not part of the historical America.
Hmm.
She's just and this is kind of this is like beating a dead horse by now, but like you have to
yeah,
understand that this person,
Yeah.
running for one of the highest offices in the land, it doesn't even count,
Yeah.
really.
Really. She's
So
yeah.
let's move on to her career, right? So in 1990, Harris was hired as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County, California, where she was noted as being an able prosecutor on the way up. In 1994, California Assembly Speaker Willie Brown, with whom Harris was in a relationship, appointed Harris to a state unemployment insurance appeals board and later the California Medical Assistance Commission. So basically, what I'm getting out of this is that she slept her way to the top.
Yeah.
yeah,
Pretty much. That's basically the summary of it. I mean, obviously, there's not enough evidence, which is what you have boomers telling you like, oh, but where's the evidence? Well, not boomers, but like Gen X people will be like, oh, but there's no evidence, and like millennials and stuff like that will bring up like, oh, but you're just saying that. That's just conjecture, and that's just because you're trying to bring down women, for being
yeah. I
ambitious.
am problem.
Right.
Yeah, I am
Troll
problem.
face,
Like
troll
troll
face.
face.
Yes, I am.
Me when I show up to Kamala Harris, threatening her to stop running with like a troll mask. In Minecraft, of course. I'm
Yeah,
talking about a troll skin.
yeah, the troll.
I'm not going to carry this out.
Yeah, my troll skin.
In February 1998, San Francisco District Attorney Terrence Hallinan recruited Harris as an assistant district attorney. There she became the chief of the career criminal division, supervising 5 other attorneys where she prosecuted homicide, burglary, robbery, and sexual assault cases, particularly three strikes cases, which, if you don't know, they're like habitual offender,
Gotcha.
like kind of things.
Hmm.
Harris reportedly clashed with Hallinan's assistant Daryl Salomon over Proposition 21, which would have granted prosecutors the option of trying juvenile defendants in Superior Court rather than juvenile courts.
Mhm.
Harris campaigned against the measure, and Salomon opposed directing media inquiries about Proposition 21. In August 2000, Harris took a new job at San Francisco City Hall, working for City Attorney Louis Rinn. Harris ran the Family and Children's Services divisions, representing child abuse and neglect cases. Whatever. And then in Wikipedia, there's an image below. I'm going to post it in the Discord.
Okay.
And it's just a really comfy and warm type thing we got going on here. It's you got Kamala Harris and you got Nancy Pelosi.
Oh wow.
Me and the boys
Like
at the
you
baby
got your two
slaughter
lesbian
ritual.
grandmas at the baby slaughter ritual.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is disturbing, actually.
Me and the boys at the well poisoning.
Yeah, basically. This is
Me and the boys at Passover.
Yeah.
What's this?
It's funny. Neither of them seem to have any soul at this point. I mean, Nancy
Yeah, those are like
Pelosi.
the fakest smiles I've ever seen. Yeah,
Oh, what's this?
Alright.
Your name's Simon? Okay, prepare to die.
Oh, what's this? Your name is Santo Domingo de Val. Prepare to die. Moving
Rep
on.
Saint Simon of Trent.
Yeah.
They probably still do
Rip.
that stuff, but they probably just keep it more
No,
secret.
they definitely still do that stuff. What do you
Yeah.
think was going on at the Lolita Island?
They do
Well,
it.
actually,
They do
Jeffrey
it
Epstein was
differently.
actually the most morally right person this nation's ever seen.
You're right. I
Um,
stand with Epstein against
I stand with Epstein.
hashtag I stand with Epstein against anti-Semitism.
Yeah, this is just slander. Epstein is
True.
great,
True.
but anyways, let's continue.
In
Moving on.
2002, she began methodically gathering support to run against Hallinan, calling Mark Buell the stepfather of her friend Summer Tompkins Walter and telling him of her intentions. Buell offered to be her finance chair and advised she would need to raise more than $150,000 to defeat an incumbent, the highest amount ever raised for the position. He and Harris organized a finance committee composed mostly of Harris's friends, including Vanessa Getty and Susan Swick. I'm going to read this because it's important later on. Harris sought to run a campaign that disrupted negative stereotypes of black women and set up her campaign office in Bayview, the most isolated neighborhood in San Francisco.
It's okay.
Anyways, so what I'm assuming she means by negative stereotypes of black women here is that she had to like consciously like lower her voice like a few decibels, you know,
Mhm.
when she was talking.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Anyways, that's what I assume. I don't know.
Mhm.
Running against Hallinan and defense attorney Bill Fazio, Harris was the least known candidate and noted to be a whip hard-working, and well-credentialed. Harris's campaign successfully lobbied the 24-member Central Committee, including U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Aw.
Wasn't she caught in like some kind of
Yeah,
like?
in that like whole rape episode where like that one
Oh
woman
yeah,
got raped by a Japanese man who was like a donor for Feinstein or something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. I think Chuck Schumer. I don't remember exactly, but I think Chuck Schumer had something to do with that too.
Yeah.
Moving on, including U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein and then House Majority Leader Nancy Pelosi, of the statewide Democratic Party to withhold its influential endorsement from an incumbent. Hallinan and Fazio sought to portray Harris as a crony of Willie Brown, who was campaigning and fundraising for Harris through a PAC. Harris denied financially benefiting from Brown and countered the stat statements used to tie her to Brown were misogynistic. It's misogynistic.
Yeah, that's
So
misogynistic. To
when
Yeah.
Biden gets into office
that's not
and like
corruption.
mysteriously,
That's just
no,
misogynistic.
that's just misogyny. When
Well, it's kind
Biden
of
gets
like
into office and then he like dies mysteriously or like resigns like 50 days later, and Kamala Harris like rises to the position and then chooses like Oprah as her
Hmm.
um VP,
Yeah.
and then they're gonna be like dropping nukes on like Iranian kids. And
Hmm.
so the last thing those Iranian kids are gonna see is like a bomb in the sky that says like girl power and then the like red nail emoji.
Yeah. Hashtag BLM.
Yeah, hashtag BLM.
Yeah, it's
When
time
this
for a
is
girl to
girl
bomb the
power,
Middle
when this
East
is
this
BLM.
time.
The
2003.
future is
Oh, this is
female.
important.
Okay.
The future is female. In October 2003, the San Francisco Ethics Commission found that Harris unintentionally violated the city's campaign finance law by exceeding the voluntary $211,000 spending limit. In what was thought to be the largest fine to date under that law, the Ethics Commission levied up to $34,000 in penalties and corrective measures and ordered her to buy newspaper ads informing voters that she had
Jeez.
exceeded the spending limit.
Yeah, she exceeded the spending limit by $34,000. What?
Wait, wouldn't the newspapers just be extra ads though? Like,
I
oh,
mean,
this person's really responsible. Like,
yeah,
this is just helping her.
basically. Oh well, so basically she's corrupt. We already knew that. I don't think that's.
Yeah.
Well,
It's important to note, just like another example of her being, an extremely corrupt politician.
Yeah.
anyways,
That's basically it.
pretty.
She's very.
That's
Yeah.
basically
She
it.
went to Howard University. She gave her speech, her opening campaign speech for 2020 was at Howard University. She talked about how white people are evil, how black people need to get what's theirs. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and how, she went after Biden. She called him a rapist. Multiple times. She said that she believed. What was the lady's name who accused
I don't
Biden?
remember.
But
So let's see if we can find like her voting history. Um, so we're gonna check Senate.gov, see if anything's there. I don't know. Do you have anything we could do for this?
anything we could
That's
do for
basically
it?
all I want to read on her early life because I feel like that's like the most.
Okay.
After that, it's just kind
Well, we can make like a concluding summary, and then we can take a little bit of a break.
I'd also like to add one last thing on this Kamala thing.
Okay.
Like, while she basically like convicted like a ton of people, like actually contributing to mass incarceration, like she threw people in jail for like weed, for example. Like, I'm against
Oh
weed
yeah,
potheads.
yeah.
Like, I hate potheads.
Yeah.
Potheads should like be. I have very strong feelings on potheads.
Yeah.
But like, she does that, and then she's like, and then someone asked her like once, like, "Hey, have you ever smoked pot?" And she's like, "Yeah, my like family's from Jamaica. What do you think?" Like,
Yeah.
it's
Good.
just another. It's
Huge
like it's a
hypocrite.
politician moment.
It is.
All
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. This has
Yeah,
been a
yeah, yeah.
major. Kamala Harris's entire life is just a series of politician moments. Let's be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Right. You reminded me of something that's on the Wikipedia article. That's actually we should probably read. Differentiating herself from Hallinan, who was the guy she was running against. She differentiated herself from him by attacking his performance. We're just gonna leave it there.
Doesn't even know what
She
performance
argued.
means. She just said he's not a good performer.
He's not a good performer. Now, what did she mean by this?
Huh. I don't know.
Anyways, she argued that she left his office because it was technologically inept and dysfunctional,
Yeah, just
emphasizing
like
his abysmal 52% conviction rate for serious crimes despite an 83% average conviction rate statewide. So Kamala Harris was in at least, what is this, 2003?
Mhm.
In 2003, Kamala Harris was arguing for like mass incarceration.
Yeah.
She was criticizing this guy because they weren't convicting enough people,
Mhm.
and saying that being was this 29 percentage points down from the national average is actually bad.
Yeah.
Which
That's pretty
I
funny,
don't know.
actually. How much of a
That's
turn
kind
of
of fun.
phrase she went on that. She's now extremely pro Black Lives Matter, very anti police, very much
Well, I mean,
defund the
Yeah,
police.
well,
if she had
because
her
it's
way,
convenient.
like, yes, like the police would be stripped of their guns, but they'd still be police.
Mhm.
Like you strip the police of all their efficiency, but she'd also probably outlaw like PMCs for like protection.
She would probably
Uh,
end, the modern police state as we see it now,
mhm,
and it would be, extremely digitalized, and,
it would be
people.
worse.
It's
Yeah, it would be much
basically
worse.
what it is in England, where
Y-
like
yeah,
Yeah,
they just
yeah,
have like plastic batons.
Yeah, basically. It would be like the normal police are the most inept people, but then whenever there was someone smoking weed, they would send in the feds, like the SWAT team basically. Or like whenever someone like, posts hate speech on Twitter and social media, they get banned from PayPal. But even then, like if that's not enough, then they'll just get like the police knocking at their door.
Yeah, whenever like there's a white kid and he's just like at his house and he's like singing along to a rap song and he says the N word with like the soft A,
Yeah,
like SWAT teams just like break into his house.
yeah, basically. That's gonna be Kamala's world, okay? That is the
This is the
Kamala
future
world.
they took from you. Return to Kamala. Return to Kamala.
Return to
Yeah.
Kamala.
Yeah.
Return to Kamala.
Moving on. The left wing
Right.
death squads.
Yep.
Uh Concluding remarks.
Uh,
Like words.
Kamala is a disappointment to my race. She's not even part of any race at this point.
Yeah.
She's a rootless cosmopolitan. No
She's
one likes her. Yeah,
she's
she would have been bullied on like Xbox Live when if she was.
Yeah, if she was a normal person, she would have been bullied on Xbox Live. But
Uh,
Kamala's not taking the fit pill.
yeah.
What do you think her bench PR is?
Probably like
Probably
two
like
pounds.
I don't
She
know.
needs to.
yeah.
She needs to get on trend. That's
Yeah,
what we need to
definitely.
legalize. We need to criminalize every drug with like the death penalty except tren. We need like the government to like subsidize tren.
All right,
True. True.
fair enough.
Tren in every school lunch.
Yeah.
That is the
No child left
platform.
behind.
That is the platform we're going to argue for.
Yep.
All right. Concluding remarks. She's barely American. She's barely black. She's barely a woman. So she barely checks all of the boxes that are needed in order to be Joe's vice presidential candidate. And you know, I think she works quite well with Joe actually because she does have brains and like that's pretty good because that means that she can operate as like a serious candidate and like work with serious force. So I do think, at first yesterday I was like, this is good for the Republican Party because we can like radicalize our segment while at the same time the left is not going to be energized to vote for her. But she is a good campaigner and she's demonstrated her ability to debate. And so I think that is something that we have to watch out for. I do think that she is a formidable opponent to Trump and Pence. So, yeah, something to watch out for, definitely, and something to make sure that we can combat in the coming future. And I think the most important thing is to hammer home the arguments that we laid out here. You know, how she's not really an American, how she's insanely corrupt, how she is, heartless, and how she's a complete hypocrite. All right, so
All right.
I'm gonna end this here, and we're
The
gonna take
podcast.
we're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then we'll be back after this short break.